The following audio was recovered from a hard drive found in a burned-out storage locker near Seattle, Washington. The owner could not be found.
It's been at least 24 weeks now, almost 7 months since that night. I keep getting questions about new podcast episodes that deserve an answer, and this is probably going to be as good as any. I'm just still processing it all. The tapes, the stories, the shit I saw. If drugs didn't wake me out so much, I might have just skipped straight to some bottle, but no, I think I'm even more unnerved by the thought of having to face this all again under any degree of, mental impairment. I told you all last year about that museum I camped in overnight in Brighton. Well, not exactly camped. I didn't even unroll my sleeping bag before being greeted by some eldritch swarm deity. But camped in the sense that Brighton is located somewhere deep in the anus of Enchanted Forest, Oregon. There was barely a cell signal out there. Needless to say, a very easy place for one's imagination to get away from oneself, given the priming given to it on such a regular basis. It's probably a shock to no one that I read a lot. Piles of old ghost stories and all manner of pulpy, penny dreadful bullshit. And I'm sure that you could argue that it has colored my interpretation of the world, causing me to see so many colorful shadows rather than face the crushing mundanity of the world as it is. Maybe so, but by that same token, it will be really nice to have the security of something like Karnaki the Ghost Finder's ridiculous electric pentagram to block out all that extra weirdness that this mundanity always seems to hide. I'm babbling again. Sorry, it's actually weird to say all this stuff out loud despite the practice I seem to have accumulated now. My point is this. Apparently, I didn't leave those firebugs behind in that awful hidden room. I've seen them 3 times now, at least. Right here in the city, which, again, isn't quite an exotic species around here, but in the middle of downtown Scotland? And that nebulous form that literally burned into my retinas was identical. The first time, a few days after I got back, I chalked it up to some flavor of hipster PTSD, but even so, I stopped taking that shortcut home. The second time was behind that row of food trucks on Regional Boulevard. The night after I recorded the initial episode about the museum. It was fresh in my mind. Of course I'd free associate while waiting for my Saag Paneer poutine. But later that night, around 3 a.m., I'm in my shower. Sometimes I did that. When anxiety keeps me awake, I just stand under the steaming water and let my mind unwind in the noise. Then, while naked and trying to think of anything but that, the chittering mass rose up again from the drain pipe and engulfs me. Like, the very act of posting my story online was enough to summon it, and it followed my IP address through 100 miles of sewer infrastructure, back just to say hello. I have no idea how long it surrounded me. I was frozen. The scalding water didn't seem to disturb it at all, and oddly, it didn't seem to actually be doing anything to me. I only felt numb. But eventually, I built up enough nerve to grope for the towel rack, and flailing around this water-drenched fabric was enough to shatter the cohesion of the swarm, and its component insects disappeared into a million directions with their fires sputtering out. So, I got a fresh towel, dried off, and called a friend who luckily just stays up all night raiding. The next morning, I returned to the apartment, collected a handful of bug carcasses in my kitchenette and bedroom, and decided to break my lease, citing infestation. The friend on campus I showed my specimens to didn't seem to see anything out of the ordinary, but well, maybe she just had to be there. We all have our stories of triumph, trying to, regain control out of the situation that we found ourselves spiraling out of. Some are less traditional than others, and, some situations are less traditional than others. This is certainly an attempt at one. If it finds me again because I posted this, then I guess I'll just have something else new to share. We'll see.
We hope you've enjoyed this presentation, and we hope you'll subscribe for more creepy content.